Look, we need to have a real conversation about the gatekeepers. You know exactly who I'm talking about. Don't act silly. Don't act dumb. You know, we got this ability to be willfully obtuse in our community, and it needs to stop. The people that every election cycle, same self-appointed leaders, ain't nobody voted for them or chosen them. Al Sharpton, Roland Martin, Jesse Jackson, crawl out of the woodwork to tell us if we don't vote blue, we're not only betraying our ancestors, but we're putting ourselves in the path of irreversible, irreparable harm. They aren't protecting our best interests. They're protecting their seats at the table. And by now, you know this. After 75 years of them treating you just like the Democrat Party, you cannot feign ignorance. You can't say, well, Brandon, I didn't know. They protect their seats at the table by delivering our vote in a nice, neat little package to the Democrat Party every 2 years, every 4 years, and really delivering our minds to the Democrat Party 365 days a year, 7 days a week for the last 75 plus years. And they deliver our minds without us asking for a single thing in return. They've all but killed our political leverage. Why would any party on earth in any political system fight for a group of people that they already own or a group that they've already written off? But here's the thing. The fear mongering isn't working like it used to. The boogeyman rhetoric is tired and stale. People are looking at their grocery bills, they're looking at their neighborhoods, Chicago, and they're looking at their kids' futures. And they're realizing that blind loyalty has yielded absolutely zero return on investment. We are starting to see a massive shift. In 2024 alone, Donald Trump gained more of the black vote than any Republican has ever enjoyed in the history of the party from 1960 onward. People are just realizing that the old way isn't working, like Tupac said, and it's time for us to do things a new way. And anybody telling you anything different is a gatekeeper who's in it for personal gain. Black men and women are stepping outside of the traditional political lines. They're rejecting the dishonesty. They're rejecting the betrayal. They're rejecting the abuse we've all experienced at the hands of the Democrat Party. And they're realizing that true power isn't something given or assigned to your group. It's something that is exercised first by the minority, but then in a major way by the majority as they come into the understanding. Look at any person on earth. They didn't start this life off just knowing everything. They started off as innocent, ignorant babies. But as their information increased, their knowledge and their wisdom increased. And I hate to say it today, but African Americans politically, we're still babies. We're still looking to suck on mommy's teat for nourishment. And it's only that way because we fear striking out on our own and taking risk. I always say that Black America is risk averse. We really love a guaranteed outcome. And the more you pull back the layers on this false idea, this lie, this fallacy of a guaranteed outcome, the more fearful we become. But I believe it's time that we just embrace uncertainty. We embrace the unknown because the unknown is becoming more known as the times and days and weeks and months progress. The gatekeepers like Roland Martin are finally losing their keys to the black mind because the community is finally choosing facts over feelings and results over rhetoric. Why the hell is Roland Martin out in these streets calling himself attacking Nick Cannon, a black man attacking another black man for using his power of reasoning to make a decision about his political alliance, loyalty, and most importantly, his political future? Now, it's not even a question who's more successful, Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon comes from a family that is extremely wealthy, may even be in the bracket of the 1%. Roland Martin couldn't lick Nick Cannon's shoes if he was standing on a ladder, climbing up the top of a damn rope, and tiptoeing on top of the the Empire State Building, right? Roland Martin is a political prostitute who has lost the very idea of what it means to prostitute yourself. He's like a prostitute who has fallen in love with a trick. He's doing things that he used to do for $400,000 for $40, simply in survival mode, trying to peddle the same tired message to black communities, trying to stoke black fear when it comes to selling their vote. You will never hear Roland Martin say, sell your vote. You will never hear Roland Martin say, black people, make sure you get something in return for your vote. Make sure that anybody asking for your vote is clearly laying out what they're willing to offer you in exchange for your vote. The fact that you have someone who considers themselves an authority on politics, who doesn't preach that basic concept to their own people, tells you very clearly, it shows you that this person is not telling you to do something for your benefit. They're telling you to do something for their own personal gain. Roland Martin didn't want you to vote for Kamala Harris because she was the best option. Roland Martin wanted you to vote for Kamala Harris because he had access. Kamala Harris let him get on the vice presidential plane and fly all over America with her and lie to black folks about how Kamala Harris, with no policies, a person who said, I'm basically going to just do what Joe Biden did, was somehow better for the black community than every other candidate in the field. Someone who couldn't even get 2% of the vote in the primary was somehow the answer to all of black people's prayers. And everybody was going to, for some reason, support this lady who couldn't even string a sentence together. Do you think Roland Martin cared about the facts of the matter? Do you think Roland Martin cared about the actual results that would have come if we had thrown our loyalty behind Kamala Harris? He didn't give a damn, because we actually did vote as black people for Kamala Harris at 85%. And even though she lost, right? She lost ultimately. And when she lost, that meant that the people who voted for her would fall back into the same black course of habit, which is, well, if the Democrat don't win, I guess we're going to sit here for 4 years and accept nothing, expect nothing, and demand nothing. And we are in the second year of that. For some reason, every other group of people, whether they voted for the president or not, they go and they work with the president to get what they want. But black people, only group on earth who says, well, if a Democrat don't give it, then we don't want it. You guys don't think it's time to get rid of that type of thinking? Well, in order to get rid of that type of thinking, you're going to have to get rid of the gatekeepers, the black gatekeepers who make black people think that that is a winning political strategy. Most of the Jewish people in 2020 did not vote for Donald Trump. Most Jewish people in 2016 did not vote for Donald Trump. But do you understand that once Donald Trump was elected, Jewish people were able to convince Donald Trump to make Jerusalem the capital of Israel when every other president before him refused to do it? How is it that a group of people who did not support Donald Trump in the general election, how is it that they were able to secure something that they wanted from a president who they were hostile to? I don't know exactly what they did, but I know that my people aren't doing it at all. We accepted in 2016 that we weren't going to get anything. In 2020, Donald Trump offered black people a $500 billion platinum package of investment in historically black communities. You know what we said? He'll never do it. Then we turned around and watched in horror as the Democrats who we put in office over Trump turned around and spent twice that on illegal alien criminals. Free housing, free food, free medical, free. After we rejected Donald Trump because we said, where's he going to get $500 billion from? Clearly it was there. Clearly it was available. How do we know it was available? Because Democrats gave it to illegals. And how did Biden do it? By going back on his commitment to permanently fund HBCUs, to give more funding to HBCUs. Donald Trump permanently funded HBCUs. Biden tried to outdo Donald Trump by offering more money to HBCUs, but end up walking it back to pay for illegal criminal alien migrants to have free food and room and board and free shelters after they illegally invaded the country. If you don't believe me, all you need to do is go to a city like Chicago. There's black people at every city council meeting lining out factual proof, facts-based evidence showing that Chicago's black Democrat mayor, who black people voted for at 95%, took away from the black community and gave the money directly to illegal immigrants. But I'll be called a traitor and a coon for saying that. For some reason, in this community, if we could call it that, if you spit facts and truth over feelings, you are somehow a traitor. But the person lying directly to your face, directly to the people in our community, is somehow considered a hero. And the reality of it boils down to one thing. Black people are victims of something called fear-based programming, where we do something out of fear of what might happen if we don't. Sir Edmund Burke said, no passion is so effectually robs the mind of all of its powers of acting and reasoning as fear. So Edmund Burke was showing us, once you allow fear to overtake you, oh my God, Trump's going to put us back in chains. You no longer have the power to even reason or act on the reasoning. You don't have the power to look at a situation and say, ooh, what he's saying is not really adding up and it doesn't really sound like it's going to be good for me politically, so maybe I shouldn't support him. You're so scared that voting for these people and supporting these people just becomes a habit. It becomes a reactionary thing. It no longer is done, you know, it no longer follows thought or reasoning. Ruth Benedict said, "Fear has a large shadow, but he himself is strong only in the dark." And I can tell you today that the black community is wholly resting in darkness. Look at our communities. People getting gunned down in the street, illegal criminal alien migrants taking over our community, abusing our people, abusing our women. Go to Chicago. Go to the formerly black communities. Look at all the graffiti, Trinidad Agua, tagged all over the walls. A South American Venezuelan gang was allowed to come into the black community by Democrats, and now they've taken over, preying on black folks. A woman who is the wife of a retired Chicago police officer, she sat before Congress the other day, and she talked about how she kind of cried to her husband and was like, "Why don't the police just arrest these people?" And bro said, "The mayor won't allow us." The politicians of that city are gatekeeping to protect illegal immigrants. And black folks is just sitting up voting for it. Black folks like Roland Martin sitting up shaming black people for not wanting to accept this. Is that who you really are? Is that who you are as a group? Where you're so afraid of someone's words that you'll just let your entire community be destroyed. It doesn't really make sense, but yet we continue to do it. I want to play a clip of Roland Martin attacking. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I want to play a clip of Roland Martin attacking Nick Cannon. Now, mind you, just yesterday, a story broke about Primala Jayapal, a member of Congress, basically throwing around the idea that if they take back power in the midterms, they're going to try to secure reparations for illegal immigrants. Roland Martin was totally quiet about it. He didn't say a single damn thing about this idea of Democrat Party giving away reparations to illegal immigrants. But the minute Nick Cannon says, "Yo, I think I'm a Trump supporter because I like what he does, I like his actions," Roland Martin put on his hat and went into action. Guys, if Roland Martin was real, he would have attacked both. He would have said, "Look, man, I ain't cool with the Democrats trying to give our reparations to illegal immigrants. But I'm also not cool with this idea that Nick Cannon is throwing around talking about he support Trump now because he likes Trump's policies." He didn't. He said nothing about the disrespect of black people by the Democrat Party, them spitting in our face and slapping us in the face. But as soon as Nick Cannon dared to take his mind off of the Democrat plantation, the minute Nick Cannon started talking about fleeing to freedom from off the Democrat plantation, shit, here come Roland, the big black buck overseer, to come and drag his ass back to the plantation. And one thing I hate about this dude is when he talks about black people who, they think for themselves and they make a decision based on their own logic and reasoning, he always has to insult them because it sends this message that if you're black and you dare to think for yourself, somehow you are intellectually inferior to every other black person. And it's simply not true.
All right, folks, it is abundantly clear that we have a lot of people who have no concept of American history, who literally know nothing about the history of this country, the history of the Republican Party, and the history of the Democratic Party. Yes, I saw those ridiculous comments made by Nick Cannon and Amber Rose and a bunch of other people who repeat that nonsense And so you're going
Listen, I saw, the video of Nick Cannon and a bunch of people and Amber Rose who repeat that nonsense, yada, yada, yada. Do you ever notice that all of their arguments are always a refutation or rebuttal or a rejection of history? Everyone knows that the Democrat Party started the KKK. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that up until 2010, there was a KKK Grand Dragon or whatever he was, who was actually a sitting member within the Democrat Party. He was a sitting member of Congress, and he was on the Democrat side. How the hell are you trying to preach to us there was a big switch? Because that's what he's going to say. If there was a big switch, why was Robert Byrd, I believe his name was Robert Byrd. Yeah, why was Robert Byrd still sitting on the side of the Democrat Party? That's my question. He was literally a Kleagle in the KKK and an exalted cyclops of the KKK, which, do you know what the Kleagles do within the KKK? Because I know black folks, we always talk about the KKK, but we don't know what they actually do. The Kleagle, he's a recruiter for the KKK. He brings new people into the KKK, right? So you got a KKK recruiter sitting up in the Democrat Party. What the hell do you think he's doing sitting there? He's recruiting. He's recruiting. He's teaching people the new methods, the new tactics, and the new ideology of the KKK. And you wonder why a lot of the things the Democrats were doing resembled things that the KKK might have done had they been in charge of the United States government. Just think about it. Think about it. You love Martin Luther King. It's so crazy that black folks claim to want reparations, right? Right? But they also at the same time love and champion civil rights. Do you understand with the brain, this big old black brain that God gave you, do you understand that civil rights is a direct contradiction to the idea? It flies directly in the face of reparations. See, you said, I want reparations because I's black and I's the descendant of African slaves who got off the boat and were forced to work, right? That's a black thing, right? But then you co-signed civil rights, which was a law that basically barred or banned the government from doing anything based on race, based on color. So you want reparations because you're black, right? But then you supported policy that took the government's power of doing things based on race away. It stripped the government of that ability. I see these people talking about reparations. I tell people, you gave that away a long time ago because you sat your black ass up there and was like, I don't want the government to do nothing based on race. I don't want the government to do nothing based on ethnicity. I don't want the government to do nothing based on color, right? Well, wouldn't reparations be based on color? You sure as hell don't want white folks to get reparations, do you? Because if white folks get reparations, they could simply say, well, you know what? We don't even want reparations, and we don't think nobody else should get it. We stripped ourselves. And Martin Luther King was the person they used to trick you into doing it. And Roland Martin and every gatekeeper that they put in front of you will always exalt Martin Luther King to a high station, right? Because that is the person that broke the black mind in an almost irreparable, unrecoverable way, to where we literally try to entertain two opposing ideas at the same time. You support reparations, but you simultaneously support civil rights, which is a rejection. It is the Shaquille O'Neal protecting the rim to the and reparations is the ball trying to go in. You literally trying to cheer for Shaquille O'Neal while simultaneously trying to cheer for Tim Duncan. Bro, these are players on opposing teams. Right? And then you wonder why you can't win the game. And no one can argue with that. People, your mama, your granddaddy, somebody in these comments, they can say whatever they want to. There's no way they can argue with that. Go look at what civil rights did. It made it a us thing about every other race and color in America. You can't go against civil rights now and be like, well, we just want it to be a we thing, just black folks. They're going to say, no, that's illegal. And that's what they've been telling you for decades. So you up here crying and belly aching, and white folks sit back and say, ha, they did it to themselves. We tricked these fools into stripping themselves of their own rights when it came to reparations for the descendants of American slaves. We tricked ourselves. And every bamboozling, hoodwinking lawyer goes, well, give me money so I go litigate the case. Those lawyers know exactly what they're doing. They're just Tariq Nasheed, Yvette Carnell. You think they don't know the truth? They know the facts. But they used fear. They used fear. The government used fear to manipulate you. Martin Luther King used fear to manipulate you. He went out and willingly got beat down by the cops, attacked by dogs, shot with water hoses. Why? That imagery was to scare you. If you don't support civil rights, this could happen to you, as he's getting bust upside his head by the local police department. Normally, black folks would be like, I wish a mofo would touch me. I wish a dog would come bite me. I'm going to send them to Jesus, right? What did Malcolm X say? If somebody lay their hand on you, you better try to send them to the cemetery. That was the message you needed. But that's not the message you supported. Because Malcolm X understood the only reason they're making it seem like the only reason they support anything for the black community is if it benefits them in some way. Could you imagine how much this government benefited from black people literally marching for the government, in support of the government, stripping them of their ability to claim reparations? And people like Roland Martin supported that. People like Jesse Jackson, may he rest in peace, they supported that. And to this day, black people are still supporting that, but sitting up hollering about reparations. Roland Martin told you in 2020, when every Democrat candidate said, no, I would never do anything specifically for black folks. Roland Martin called you stupid for being mad at that. He does not support reparations. But you still letting this fool tell you what to do politically. Black folks got so many reasons to walk away from not only the Democrat Party, but just walk away from people like Roland Martin. Now, I'll sit up here and tell you like this. If the Democrat Party come out and offer you something and make you an offer you can't refuse, go ahead and take it. If the next Democrat candidate come out and say, look, we giving every nigga $300,000. We don't know what you're going to do with it. We don't care, but we going to give it to you. All the money we've been giving to the immigrants, we just going to turn that in and give it to black folks. Vote for them. Even if they say they're going to give it to white folks, American citizens across the board, vote for them. If they say we going to make a $500 billion investment in black communities to help start black businesses and get y'all on y'all feet economically, vote for them. I will tell you, if a Democrat Party candidate comes offering that, vote for them. See, I can say that because I'm not a partisan hack. I'm not a gatekeeper. Vote for anybody who's going to give you something tangible that you can use, right? If a Democrat Party person say, you know what, we really want to get rid of taxes on tips. And we want to get rid of taxes on overtime. And we want to exempt working mothers from being taxed. Vote for them. I'll tell you right, I'd vote for them. I'd vote for them. But the Democrat Party's never going to do that. And if they do, vote for them. But you and I know they're never going to do anything that they feel overwhelmingly or disproportionately benefits black people. Nothing to help us. But they'll do a lot of stuff that disproportionately hurts us. They know that letting 20 million illegal immigrants into the country disproportionately harms the black community. But they don't care. They still did it. But that's not the problem. The problem is you still handed them your vote. And people like Roland Martin, that's what they feed off of. They feed off of this understanding that, look, if I tell black people to do something that goes against their best interest, I'm not in the wrong because they're doing it anyway. So that's how they rationalize it with themselves. That's how they say, it's okay because they were going to do this thing anyway. So I'm not hurting them any more than they would be hurting themselves without me making money off of it. Understand that. Right? There's a basic political observation that says if you go to a party and you're already in their pocket, they don't have to do anything for you. They've already got you. There's an unknown author who said the most dangerous thing in the world is a group of people who are told they have no choice but one. And that is black Democrats. Black Democrats wake up in the morning understanding that, we're not even in the game. We already belong to the Democrat Party like chattel. We have no choice. That means any dangerous, self-destructive policy that the Democrats throw out, they're automatically in support of it. Do you realize how dangerous that is? They sit up and cheer for Iran and against America while they're destroying and undermining their own country. Why? Because they're told they don't have a choice. Whatever the Democrats say, that's what they're going to do without no thought. And the lack of thought, the absence of thought is going to be defended and supported by people like Roland Martin as he goes against people like Nick Cannon. Let's tap into a little bit more of this.
I see a deconstruction tonight on Roland Martin Unfiltered, while I walk you through the actual history of the Republican Party and the Democratic Party when it comes to black voters. Watch at 6 p.m. Eastern, Roland Martin Unfiltered. Go to our YouTube channel or Black Star Network app. School will be in session. You better take notes.
Now, when Roland Martin says that, do you believe that Roland Martin is going to give you an objective and unbiased, perspective on the history of the Democrat Party? Do you think Roland would really get on stage and be like, yo, man, the big switch is a lie. It really didn't happen. He's not going to do it. Not only is he not going to do it, but the people who Roland Martin brings along, right? The people that Roland Martin brings along, they're going to support every lie that Roland Martin tells because Roland Martin is one of those gatekeepers who they feel is a stepping stone to help them reach a certain level that they're trying to get to. These people are so highly intelligent, they could eviscerate Roland Martin on this shit, but they never will. They'll always just support because what do we say? They want to enrich themselves. That's it. They're not worried about the hell? They want to enrich themselves. They're not worried about whether or not what's being said is true. They're simply worried about, wait a minute, what's up with bro's page? Oh, okay, so he's doing Roland Martin Unfiltered. They're just worried about what they're able to gain from lying. And with black folks, we don't lie well. We really don't lie well. We'll tell a lie, and it'll be written all over our face. It will be written all over our face that we're lying, and we'll just keep telling that lie because we know if you tell a lie and you tell it long enough, people will start believing it. I don't even want you to listen to Roland Martin. I want you to listen to this black woman. I think this is the part where she was talking. I clipped in a little bit late, but it's crazy to me how Roland Martin gets these black people to get up here and lie about history, as if that puts us, as if that's advantageous to us. All it does is make us look untrustworthy. Like these people will lie just for personal gain, which most people would do that. But I don't like to be known as a person who would do that. I'd rather have something called integrity, where you can trust that I'm going to do the right thing, even if it doesn't, even if it doesn't go in my work in my own best interest. I'm not going to lie. Guys, I'm handsome. I'm well-spoken. I could jump up here being a liberal Democrat shield and make 10 times more money. But I'm not going to lie to you. I cannot do it. I cannot do it. But so many people can, unfortunately. So many people are just cool with it. And it's really, in my opinion, it's really pathetic. It's really sad that people can just sit up and lie to black folks straight to their face. Like Drake say, straight up to my face. Like, I don't like that. To me, that is one of the gravest forms of disrespect. For someone to entrust you, with their mind, and you just lie to them, like this lady right here is going to do.
Getting to the Supreme Court, for them to have this ability to have the power that is immured in politics.
Wait, so what she's doing, she's explaining why we should continue to give illegal immigrants birthright citizenship. This is a black woman trying to explain to you why you should go against your own, why you should destroy your own vote, right? Why you should destroy the power of your own vote by supporting this abused and misused policy of birthright citizenship, where somebody just come over here and drop ass and drop a baby out, and all of a sudden they get to become an American citizen. They didn't put no work in and contributed to nothing. You can't do this in damn near no other country on earth that's still working properly. But the black American, we have nothing to gain from this. But we should continue to support this, even though it undermines our own vote. This is a losing argument that further destroys the black community. But Roland then got 1, 2, 3, 4 people, then 5, including himself, who gonna sit up here and try to force you or convince you to do this.
Let me come up with the right. They know at the moment they decide, that's it. Until there's a new court, they don't care what Scott just said.
I totally agree, and I slightly have to veer off with Scott on this because coming from the government as a former prosecutor and a former magistrate judge, I saw firsthand how politics played into the law. That, when I tell you, that literally changed how I navigated in the system, because not once did I think that the law was going to have to worry about being interfered with politics, but politics have more power in the law than we know. So when we're talking about what the Supreme Court is going to do, yes, we think that we know that they're supposed to. However, they get to make their final decision because they have been put in a position to do it so freely under this administration. So we cannot minimize how powerful this particular case in the hands of some of the most uneducated, in my opinion, to the level degree that needs to be on the Supreme Court to follow the black letter law, because they're supposed to follow the black letter law. And one of the main words that is very clear in the 14th Amendment is everybody. It does not give a description. It does not say everybody, but it says everybody. And for them to come in and interpret it that way, that is because they have injected politics into the rule of law. And when you have the majority on the Supreme Court, they get to will and deal how they see fit, regardless of what their judicial responsibility is. And we've seen that this Supreme Court does not give a damn about their judicial responsibility so long as they're doing what the person that put them in that seat to do.
They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to interpret the law based on what they understand it to mean. That is the job of the Supreme Court. This woman has the audacity to sit up and talk about somebody being uneducated while she got some ridiculous claw-ass nails, talking like a hood rat from somewhere in the projects, and keep on fiddling with her hair while thinking somebody's going to take her serious. So now the Supreme Court, they didn't work their way higher than she ever thought to get, but they're uneducated and dumb. Democrats try to fiddle with the law all the time with politics. The Second Amendment says every man in America is entitled to own a gun. It doesn't say what kind. It doesn't say you can't own a damn automatic. It says you're able to own a firearm. That's your right to bear arms. There's many things covered under the definition of arms. But then the Democrats go and say, well, you can't have AR-15. You can't have this with an extended magazine. You can't have a bump stock. You can't have it. So they're the primary group that interferes and fiddles with the law based on their own reasoning, right? But they always try to call someone else out. But my question is this. If you say everyone has the right to bear arms, I say that benefits America because an armed society is a polite society. And it really scares other hostile countries off of this idea of invading America, right? Because they like, well, their society's armed, so you're going to have 1 million and something guns pointed at you, no matter how you train. If a bunch of bullets is flying at you, you're going to have a hard time beating that, right? In that case, when it puts us in more harm, they're willing to fiddle with the law. But when it comes to something like birthright citizenship, the key word is everybody. So what she's saying is, let's just let everyone in the world come into America, and if they drop ass and have a baby, that baby is automatically a citizen. But this is the problem with Democrat arguments. How does that benefit America? How does that benefit America? Everything written in the Constitution is written for the benefit of America. When slaves were getting out of slavery and birthright citizenship came in and canceled out Dred Scott, right? The Dred Scott decision. That was done because it benefited America. They didn't want to create America with basically a bunch of millions of blacks who weren't citizens, right? Because they know when you do that, what does that lead to? Civil war. So they said, no, we're going to give them citizenship, and we're going to make it so every kid they get is a citizen too. Major benefit to African Americans. How does it benefit African Americans to then apply that to every single person coming into this country, especially when Joe Biden was asleep on the job and let 20 million illegal immigrants into the country? They have 20 million babies. You get rid of them, and it's still the same effect in 20 years. 20 years from now, her kids, my kids, your kids, their vote means nothing. They can always tell you, oh, they violated the law, or they're basically personal ad hominem attacks, right? She's not attacking the decisions and the benefit of the decisions. She's just attacking the people making the decisions. One thing we know, if your ass is sitting on the Supreme Court, you are educated. Ain't no arguing against that. So why attack these people as uneducated? Because she has no other argument that anybody would be willing to listen to. Preaching to the echo chamber.
Scott, 1 second.
Hold on, let me respond.
Scott, hold on. I'm going to let you respond after Ome Congo speaks.
Yeah. And so now Roland's going to be there as the filibuster. Oh, let this other dude talk who agrees with what she say so that it can water down what this brother Scott is about to say, right? It's always like this. If the conservatives don't have a point, why do liberals have to gang up on conservatives? You need like 3-4 liberals to beat a conservative in argument. Look at Scott Jennings on CNN. They sit that man at a table with 4 hostile liberals, and Scott Jennings just takes them all to school with Abby Phillips filibustering, interrupting him, and trying to downplay his statements and his observation and his facts. She's 100% quoting the 14th Amendment incorrectly. We know that. But what she preys on is black folks who don't read. Every black person in political office preys on the same trope. If you want to hide something from a black man or woman, put it in a book. I used to watch preachers do this shit all the time in church. They say something, they know it's a lie, but they figure nobody gonna read it to know the truth, so it's okay. No harm, no foul.
Mekong, I'm bringing you in here. The point that what Scott was addressing earlier, and then what you just heard Thelma say there. Let's take the Second Amendment for a perfect example, okay? When you talk about what the words actually say. Anthony, go to my iPad.
Saying they never do that. Got it.
And their mindset has always been damn the law. So this is not, regardless of what the law, we know the jurisprudence and all of that, this Supreme Court has demonstrated completely that it cannot be trusted to do the right thing. Case in point.
So we have no real argument against not giving 20 million illegal immigrants birthright citizenship, their offspring. So what we're going to do instead is attack the Supreme Court. Do you realize how stupid that is? But I wish I was there, because I would just ask a simple question. How does this benefit black people? Because it ain't a single Mexican watching Roland Martin. His whole audience black. Shouldn't everything be angled towards the benefit of black people? It ain't the multicultural star line. It's the Black Star Line, or whatever he calls it, the Black Star Network. Everything is angled at black people. So why isn't the message angled to the benefit of black people? Now, I'll sit up here and say, I don't think news should be angled at black, white, blue, green, whatever. I think it should be beneficial to all Americans, right? But Roland Martin chooses to angle his stuff with this big-ass platform. Roland Martin chooses to angle everything at black people. But for some reason, Roland Martin is telling a room full of black people, hey, you need to vote in support of giving birthright citizenship to a bunch of Hispanic immigrants which will further strip your vote of power in the next 20 years. It will do that even more. How do we benefit? They can't answer that. We know how it hurts us, but they can't tell you how it benefits you.
I remember when the immunity case came up, and I was seeing all of these guys, J. Michael Ludig, all of these conservative judge luminaries who were saying, oh, this is a drop case, it's going to go nowhere, they're going to send it back to the lower courts. And what did we know? They gave him immunity pretty much over everything, which is allowing him to engage in his criminal acts right now and his unconstitutional acts right now. And so just on
as soon as they say stuff like that, Trump's engaging in criminal acts, you know they're lying. There's nothing criminal or unconstitutional about what Trump's doing. How do we know that? Because every Democrat president has done the same damn thing. Obama didn't declare war on Iraq. George W. Bush didn't declare war on Iraq. Obama didn't, the Congress didn't declare it. The last time the Congress declared war was in World War II, bro. Think about that. I think it was in 1940 something when they declared war on Japan. I want y'all to think about this. Whether you think Trump's a criminal or whatever you want to believe, how are Trump's acts criminal when we have not declared war on another country since the 1940s? Let me type this. Last time the U.S. declared war. June 5th, 1942. The United States Congress declared war against Bulgaria, Hungary, and Romania. While the U.S. has engaged in numerous major conflicts since then, such as Korea, Vietnam, and Iraq, these were conducted under authorizations for use of military force rather than formal declarations. So how are Trump's acts illegal? If that's the case, every president since 1942 has been engaging in illegal wars and conflicts around the world. So the Vietnam War was illegal. The Korean War was illegal. The Iraq War was illegal. The war on drugs was illegal. This is a lie that this man is telling you. Because it's only illegal if someone who he doesn't share, it's only illegal if the party that he's loyal to doesn't do it. If anybody other than the party he supports does it, now it's illegal. And a Democrat could come next term and say, we're going to keep on bombing Iran. And they'll say, yeah, man, we had to do that because they was threatening. This is bull crap. If it's illegal when Republicans do it, it was illegal when Democrats did it, and vice versa. Why do black men get on social media and just lie? They know it's black people watching. They know we loud and love to argue, but they'll feed us straight lies knowing once we get around the water cooler or we go in front of other groups, we going to be out here looking dumb. That's why no one takes us seriously, because we got people like this lying to our face with no conscience, no recourse. Just, yeah, I'm just throw this bullshit out here. Trump's illegally this and criminal this. No, you're lying.
That fact alone, this is a reason why we should not trust this court. I love what's being said here on the panel, but we shouldn't trust this Supreme Court to do that based on what the record shows as well.
All right, Scott, now you can talk.
Yeah, guys, real quick, two things can be right.
And mind you, Roland knows that what that dude just said is an absolute damn lie, as does everyone on this panel. But are they going to call it out and hold them accountable? No, they're not.
At the same time, I don't disagree with you that they're not trustworthy, and I understand the abortion decision, the immunity decision. I was one of those talking heads saying they'd never do that. Got it, right? The point I'm making is what makes this unique. One, politically, they would have. How do you look at the tariff decision? I can still distrust them, but the tariff decision, where they went directly against the president on something that was near and dear to his heart, and yet was killing our economy. So there is some glimmer of hope there. But the fact of the matter is, when you've got a case like this, just consider this, where the plain language of the Constitution is there, subject to the jurisdiction. You've got to do something. I'm sorry. You got to do something to get around it as a conservative jurist. You can't just ignore it and say, this is how it's going to be. This is what it's going to be. Now, Roland, I like your argument saying, hey, the originalists will say, well, this is what it was meant to be. That's true, but that seems to run out a little bit because we're in 2026. So that alone won't sustain it. And because it is a living document, regardless of what originalists think, it's been applied. And you do have precedent that say that if you're born here, you automatically become a citizen. At least 20 other countries say the same thing. So it's not that far-fetched. I practiced with Roberts. I practiced against him before he went to the Supreme Court. I do believe he's a moderate, deeply concerned about being a political court, notwithstanding some of his decisions. And I got to tell you, this huge, huge impactful decision that's going to be he's writing or somebody's going to write, I can tell you at the forefront is, why am I going to be a political court, or why am I going to be dragged?
At the end of the day, does it benefit the country or hurt the country to allow 20 million people in and then tell them, if you drop a kid here, that kid is a citizen? These are called anchor babies. And they will use these anchor babies to argue for amnesty and citizenship for the parents. Everyone knows that. How this isn't even a conversation that black people need to have. We know this shit can't ride. If they rule that birthright citizenship applies to everybody who illegally entered this country, we're done. We're cooked. Move to Africa. You're done, right? We know what it's going to do for us. Reparations, all that, kiss all that shit goodbye. Wherever those Hispanics drop kids, 20 years, your kids' vote ain't meaning shit. Period. Okay, but let's go to AI, because AI is not, I mean, it's a machine, right? It's not biased. It's gonna look, the National African, look, I want y'all to see this. Can y'all see this? The National Museum of African American History, Reconstruction, and Citizenship. The U.S. Supreme Court declared in the case of Dred Scott versus Sanford, right? So this comes from our own museum. This museum has been around since before Biden let 20 million illegals into the country. Our own museum is saying, I asked the question, was birthright citizenship established for slaves? Clear answer, yes. Birthright citizenship was specifically established to guarantee citizenship to formerly enslaved people and their descendants in the United States. Ratified in 1868, the 14th Amendment Citizenship Clause overturned the 1857 Dred Scott decision, which ruled black people could not be citizens, by declaring that all persons born in the U.S. are citizens. But do you understand that it's all about context? They were talking to the whites and the blacks who dominated this country at that time. There wasn't a lot of Mexicans here. So when they made this amendment, they're just, do you think that the court was thinking, damn, we just put belt to ass on all these Mexicans and took all this land from them? One day, these our idiotic descendants are going to let them all come back up in here with no weapons and not a single shot fired. And then they're going to drop babies here and say, well, my baby's a citizen. Boop, 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 pop them bitches out like popcorn. And now they got a bunch of citizens who need parents to raise them, so the parents get to stay too. You know that the Supreme Court wasn't thinking about that then. You're not thinking. No one in that time was dumb enough to say, these people are enemies, and one day we're going to let them flood into our country unchecked, unvetted. So you know they didn't intend that. They said it's niggas and whites and Indians. The Indians is over on reservations, and it's niggas and whites. And we are actively whooping these Mexican dudes' ass and running them up out of here. So when we say everyone, we know that that means everyone who is large numbers in this state at that time. That's what they meant. That didn't mean every Hispanic from South America flooding into the country illegally. And I know that if you told them, well, does this cover illegal immigrants? They're going to say no. Hell no. A criminal is not even a person like that. You can still, in the United States, it is still legal to enslave a criminal. Think about that. Think about that. In the United States, it is still legal to enslave a criminal. Technically, if the United States captured every illegal immigrant here and enslaved them, that would be valid under the Constitution. But people would say, well, that's not what the Constitution meant, right? They'll argue the Constitution at that point. But when we're saying we know that the founding fathers and the Supreme Court, we know that they didn't intend for the United States to basically be handed back over to Mexico by way of birthright citizenship. If that's the case, Mexicans should just overrun the border and start shitting everywhere while pooping babies out, and they win. Hey, little Miguel was a citizen. And this is why as soon as they get over here, they busting nuts unprotected. Because they like, yeah, I gotta have my little anchor baby. I gotta have my little anchor baby. Because that's what's gonna help me stay here. Hell no. Hell no. And it's an unnecessary burden on the country. I don't even think the Africans do it. The Nigerians don't get them birthright citizenship because they got a whole racket running where they fly women who are about to pop over here, talking about for medical reasons. She have the baby over here. Baby's a citizen. Now she's applying to stay because she's the mother of a U.S. citizen. No, that's wrong as well. That's wrong as well. I'm not basing this on race. But Roland, and I'm gonna take it back to the same argument. You know, my favorite book is the Bible. And there's a scripture in the Bible that kind of gives you some insight on situations like this. And I'm going to share it with you because it's my channel and I can. And I think when black folks listen to people like Roland Martin, you know, this is what I would have said if I was up there. Because these dudes, all these people swear they Christians and all this stuff. And I'd be like, you claim to be a Christian, right? But you ain't never doing Christianly things. You claim to be a Christian, but everything you do is demonic all the time. It don't make no damn sense to me. But it seems like everything they do is like supporting some type of degenerate shit. And it's like, bro, come on, man. Like, this don't even benefit our people, and y'all swear, y'all just, you know, but y'all telling our people to destroy themselves politically. And no one's holding you accountable for that. And I guess that's why channels like this exist. And black folks will defend Roland Martin with their last breath. Whole time Roland Martin selling them out as fast as he can. But this scripture is in 1 Corinthians 6, verse 12. It says, all things are lawful for me, but not all things are advantageous. All things are lawful for me, but I will not let myself be controlled by anything. Think about that. You might say that the Constitution is a law, right? And based on the Constitution, you know, this is lawful. Yeah, but is it advantageous for my people? And even if I'm talking about my people as far as Americans, is it advantageous for Americans? We all know it's not. So why even entertain the stupid argument? Why even debate something that has a wholly negative effect on America? It doesn't make any sense. And this is why the Democrat Party their approval rating is at 26%. People are tired of being gaslit. People are tired of being said, you got to put illegal immigrants over your own kids. How the hell is that helping any community in America? It's not. But you're getting guilt tripped and shamed. And it's like getting guilt tripped into blowing your own head off. What? Hell no. Would those people from those countries do the same for you if they were in your shoes? No. You think Mexico is, bro, let me do this. The Democrats have already told you that they value illegals over you, right? The most common, the primary exception across the continent. So, hold on. So, when you birthright citizenship is really like something that poor countries practice, because they're like, man, if somebody from a rich country, you know, come here and have a kid by accident, you know, that kid is a citizen, so we might be able to tax him or something. America doesn't need these people's money. We don't even need these people. We could take all the resources that will go to these people. Kids can be going to American kids. And that's what I really like about Trump. He continues to do things for American children while we sit up and try to give everything American people have earned and built to the children of people who aren't even citizens of this country.
dragged into this political process. I don't want to get this wrong. And I do think there's hope. That's all I'm saying is there's hope.
Yannick, before you make your point, let me be real clear. Roberts is irrelevant. They have 6 votes.
Yeah, I know.
No. Scott.
And I got to tell you, I just had the Supreme Court.
Scott. Roberts could roll with Ketanji Brown Jackson, Sotomayor, and Kagan. It's still 5-4. And this is Yannick, this is the point that people need to understand. I listen to so many people. Matter of fact, but I'm even go before Hillary. When Obama was there, Rahm Emanuel, one of the reasons why I will never support his sorry ass for the Democratic nomination, Rahm Emanuel used to shit on progressives because all they talk about is the goddamn court and the federal bench.
Do you really believe that if Rahm Emanuel was nominated as the Democrat presidential candidate, do you really believe Roland Martin wouldn't vote for him? See, this is what I'm telling you. Roland Martin is an absolute liar. Roland Martin is going to vote for anybody the Democrat Party tells him to get on his knees and vote for. Right? Period. He's going to vote for anybody the Democrat Party tells him to vote for. And this is what I hate. I hate when Roland Martin acts like he actually has a spine and he's going to stand up to the Democrats. Roland, we know you're not. You weirdo Trump is building a nuclear bunker. Shut up, man. That's stupid. Like, you know, people, when they say stuff like that, do they really think that we believe they know more than what we know? Where is he building it at? Because if you know he's doing it, then you know where it's at. Hey, guys, the link is in the comments. If you want to come up here and give your opinion on this, let me know. But my whole point of this is, why are black people attacking other black people for simply thinking for themselves and making decisions and choosing parties and loyalties based on what's best for them? We always talking about we're not a monolith. We're not a monolith. But as soon as we break away from the monolithic thought process, we get shamed. We are a monolith. We are the most monolithic group of people ever. How do I know? Because we're the only group in America that votes 85 to 90% for the same party every damn election. And we're going to have to just start being honest about who we are as a group of people.
Yeah, dumbass. Because at best, Obama was going to be there 8 years. Federal judges can be there for 30, 40, 50, 60 years for life. And so what ended up happening? I remember people like, all the people were sitting here saying, oh, Supreme Court, the Breonna Graves of the world, Supreme Court not going to be an issue when Hillary was running against Trump in 2016. Was it? Yes. Trump got three Supreme Court picks. I remember, listen, Obama people were pissed off at me when I was lighting his ass up when he nominated Merrick Garland. I'm like, dude, ain't nobody fighting for another white man. We had, what, 100?
But does Roland forget that the Democrats have to confirm the person? Does Roland Martin forget that Democrats and Republicans have to say, yes, we feel this person is qualified to sit on the Supreme Court? They working together in this regard. And Roland like, man, you need to just like be against this one no matter what. No, who cares? If another president nominates 3 liberals, well, I guess we liberal for a while. I don't even know what you're talking about. These type of questions like, why are Republicans trying to rewrite history? You have to explain that stuff to me because I don't see what you're talking about. What are you talking about? When the Supreme Court ruled on when the 14th Amendment was put into effect, that was about black people. Now we're trying to use it to apply to all these different immigrants who nobody in this country ever thought would be allowed to enter this country. If the founding fathers and the Supreme Court of back then saw what we were trying to do, they would come out clearly and say, we did not intend this to be used this way. We did not intend for this to be this way. Y'all letting criminals and everything else up in here. These things were done when the border was strongly defended by the army. Now, under people like Biden, the border was wide open. 100 people from Al-Shabaab or ISIL could have came in here and had a bunch of kids and then just indoctrinated those kids. So, they might be terrorists, but we got to give them citizenship. That's so stupid. At what point does common sense come into play?
5 in American history, and then 105 out of 109, whatever the number was? No. I knew that was going to be a major issue. And so for people
and my number one question will be, how does giving 20 million illegal immigrants offspring birthright citizenship benefit black people? That's my only question. Friars, I know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm asking you the question. How does giving the descendants of 20 million illegal immigrants giving their offspring birthright citizenship benefit black people or any group of Americans for that matter? That's the question they can't answer. I will pay you $100 of my own money today right now if you could come up here and tell me how giving the offspring of 20 million illegal immigrants birthright citizenship benefits African Americans. They cannot answer that question. Roland can't answer that question. This lady can't answer that question. These two black dudes can't answer that question. They're up here because Roland Martin is paying them. That's it. It don't benefit. Hakeem, let me ask you a question. You 18, right? Okay. How does making the children of 20 million illegal immigrants American citizens benefit you as a black person? It doesn't, right? Okay, an 18-year-old could see that. How does that benefit you? It doesn't benefit you in any way. Any way. And we know now the immigrants ain't even coming over to work no more. They're coming here to jump on welfare now. That's what they own. Jump on welfare, open up a burrito stand, and don't pay no taxes. These are not the immigrants of the 90s and the 80s. They coming over to milk the system while working and send their remittance back to their country. So there are immigrants from Africa. That's a zinger. There's immigrants from Africa. Let's look up how many immigrants came from South Africa. The 59 South African immigrants who Trump allowed to come to America, 59 of them. Do you know how many South African immigrants Biden allowed to come in 2021? 915,000. This dude, Biden, let almost 1 million South Africans come into this country. And you talking about the 59 that Trump let in. See, Democrats don't argue with facts. They just try to throw things out as gotcha. Trump let 59 white folks up in here. And y'all like, he's a racist. He's the master of the KKK. No, that's Biden. He let 1 million come in. Yeah, Fryer, you're stupid. Just come up here. If you got an argument, the link is in the comments. Come up and tell me your argument. Trump hates black. Well, this is not that channel, bro, where these dumb statements don't work over here. We do research over here. We do research. What I guarantee you, Fryer, if he's white, he's definitely racist. If he's black, he's definitely a self-hater. Why? Because for any white or black person to say Trump hates black people, that means that he's saying that black people don't have the intelligence to determine whether or not someone they support hates them or likes them. Or is like, look, I'm your president. I'm serving you. He's telling us we're too dumb. No, I know Trump's not a racist because Trump didn't become a racist until he ran for president. Black folks wasn't calling Trump racist till he ran for president. Black folks weren't calling Trump racist until white liberal Democrats told them to call Trump a racist when Trump ran for president. So I know he's not racist. Show me before 2016 one black person saying, man, Donald Trump is a racist. You won't find it. You ain't getting no damn $20. You're an idiot. If Trump is a racist, why won't he stand on the stage with the black female officer? Shut the hell up. That means you're racist? Because you won't stand on stage with a black female officer? That's dumb. This guy is so stupid. This guy is dumb. This is dumb. Trump bring black people on the stage in the White House more than any other president, but all that, he doesn't want to stand with the black female officer. You're just ignorant. The link is there. See, that's your problem. You can't even open the link up, but you think you know what's best for everybody who's black. Why Munchie be crying because Flacco said him and YG about to be arrested for the Drake Hill situation. He was tough. Now he panicking. You do the crime, you do the time, nigga. These niggas like jail, so it don't even matter. But yeah, so Roland is just being a gatekeeper. Straight up.
Or sitting their asses at home who say elections don't mean nothing, my vote doesn't matter. Well, guess what? Your lack of voting is the reason why Trump got 3 votes on the Supreme Court.
Black vote don't even matter. On Democrat side, black vote don't even mean nothing because black people voted for Kamala 85% and she still lost because Mexicans, Hispanics voted for Trump 50-50. So I'll tell you, look, that proves to you that the black vote on the Democrat side of the aisle already don't mean nothing because black people voted almost 100% for Kamala and she still lost. If all Hispanics have to do is split 50-50 and your vote is erased, they've already stripped your vote of all power. Now just think if they voted for somebody at 85%, your power is stripped even further. So stop. Man, listen, I gave you the link. You didn't click it. I'm not about to go out of my way for you to be for your ignorant takes. Use a different browser, dude. You don't even know. 86 million people, 81 definitely didn't vote for Biden. So we know that. But anyway, this guy Roland still trying to
The reality is this, Johnny. If 2016 election had gone different, progressives/liberals would have a majority in the Supreme Court right now. It would be 6-3 progressive/liberal versus 6-3 MAGA conservative.
So just think about this. So what Roland Martin is saying, and if you black, I want you to pay attention. And if Roland Martin got his way, Title IX would have been overturned, or I think it was Title 13. Which one was it that protects women in sports? I think it's Title IX. Right? Oh, so Title IX prohibits sex-based discrimination in any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. So Biden tried to use Title IX. He wanted that to cover transgenders, right? Right? And the Supreme Court shot him down. And then yeah. So Biden, he wanted Title IX to include transgenders, which would have allowed men to play in women's sports, right? See, most black folks, they don't even know what Title IX means. So when Biden is when Roland is like, oh, if we had a liberal/progressive Supreme Court, things would have been different. If Hillary got elected, that means your daughters would have been forced to play sports with boys. Think about this. Look, think about that. See, but Roland Martin, you will never hear this dude talk about the transgender agenda. You'll never hear it. He knows that the party he supports champions that agenda. He knows that that could hurt. Who do you think would be the primary group of people hurt by that? All those black girls who play basketball, do track, all that, who get scholarships to pay for their education. That's who's going to be disproportionately affected by that. Roland don't give a damn, because if the Democrats say it's good, then it's good. I want y'all to tell me, why is a black man and 1, 2, 3 black men and a black woman, why are they sitting up talking about, yeah, we wish Hillary got elected so we could have so that liberal progressive judges could dominate the Supreme Court? Let me ask you a question, Stephen, since you up here. Stephen,
what's up, man?
Do
Good-
you
good to meet
believe,
you.
good to meet you as well. Do you believe, Stephen, that if Hillary Clinton won and it was allowed to appoint 3 liberal/progressive judges to the Supreme Court, do you think they would have voted to include transgenders in Title IX, which is a protection for women's sports?
I don't know. Who,
Are you serious
first
right
off,
now?
I mean, if Hillary would have won, so you're talking 2016?
Yes. He said, this is what Roland said. If Hillary would have won, she would have been able to appoint 3 liberal/progressive judges to the Supreme Court. And we know that the Supreme Court rejected Biden's suit, which would have covered transgenders in Title IX. If Hillary
Okay.
had been able to basically redraw the court, which would have been like all liberal progressives except for maybe 2, do you think they would have voted to include transgenders in Title IX?
Honestly, I really can't say. I mean, I don't.
With Ketanji Brown Jackson saying she doesn't know what a woman is.
What do you mean? She says she doesn't know what a woman is.
She
What?
said,
What?
you don't remember when she was being what is it called? What they do? Not vetted, but confirmed or something.
Confirmation hearings.
Yeah, confirmation. She said she didn't know what a woman was.
Okay. So
Did
again,
you know that?
I didn't watch her hearings, so no, I wasn't aware about that. And I guess you consider yourself a conservative, right?
No, I consider myself someone with common sense. The one Supreme Court justice that Biden appointed, while this black lady right here talking about they uneducated, the one liberal Supreme Court justice that Biden appointed is so smart, black woman, by the way. She's so smart and she's so educated that she doesn't know that a woman is a human being with two X chromosomes, with a uterus and ovaries, and all these things that men simply just don't have. But she's considered, this panel here considers her to be the most educated person on the Supreme Court.
She's a lawyer. She's a lawyer and she's a justice, right?
She's a judge, but she doesn't know the difference between a man and a woman.
I think she's not walking into your trap of what a woman is, which is the first thing that conservatives want to always talk about. They're not conservatives. They're MAGA.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. What is a woman? What is the difference between a woman and a man, Stephen?
Is your mom a woman? Your mom's a woman. Am I right or wrong?
What makes my mother different from my father?
There's a lot that make your mother different from your father.
No,
your mother
just
gave
tell
you birth,
me.
right?
Give me one thing.
I just did.
Biologically.
Your mother gave you birth, right?
Okay. Yes.
There you go. That's one thing. What else?
So a woman is a human being that could bear a child.
You asked me to give you one thing. It's way more complicated than that. But
no,
one thing is women give birth.
This is a very simple question, Stephen. What is the difference between a man and a woman biologically?
I just told you. I gave you one already. Now let me ask you a question.
So a woman
how many transgenders are involved in college sports?
I honestly believe we don't. There's no way for us to know at
We
this
do.
point.
We do. And we know an
No, we
exact
don't.
number.
No,
Yes, we
we
do.
don't,
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
bro.
How many? How many collegiate
Listen,
athletes are there?
let me say this.
How many?
If
Okay, wait, how many collegiate athletes are there?
Wait, let
That's
me say
that's an easy
this.
number.
Listen.
Okay, I'm listening. I'm listening.
If
On this.
at this level, college students and athletes are just numbers. So if a college lets a man transition to a woman and they honor that, change all his identifiers on the transcripts to female, he gets a female, his ID says female, and they allow him to participate in women's sports. How would you know as a government as the government that this is a transgender person? There's thousands, there's millions of college athletes.
Look it up. There's 500,000 college athletes.
Okay. So how do you
Okay,
know how many of those are women, men, or men who we know none of them are women who transitioned over to being men because they can't compete? How many of those are men who transition to over
we
to
do know.
women are competing? How many are there?
Just look it up. There's 50 college. There's 50 college athletes which identify as transgender. Of those 50 college athletes, one has won a competition, and 5 have placed.
Yes.
So you're making you're making all this argument out of 500,000 athletes over one athlete winning. Basically, this is what your whole argument is based upon.
No, my
So
listen,
I'm listening.
my whole argument is based on this. In the 1990s, like less than 1% of American society identified as gay, lesbian, and like even less than that as trans, right? But as
No,
yes, that's true. That's
no,
true.
that's not true.
How
That's not
many
true.
was it?
Keep
How many
going.
was it?
Keep
How many
going.
was it?
Keep going. Keep going. I want to hear the whole statement before I
Okay,
respond.
cool. Let's keep going. In the 1990s, less than 1% of the population, I think it was 2%. I think it was 2%.
Well, the double
Identified
just said,
as
but keep
lesbian
going.
or gay. As lesbian or gay. Even less than that identified as trans. As LGBTQ and trans identity stuff became more trendy, more people began to identify as trans, LGBTQ, gay, whatever. Even now, we're seeing a large number of people who have, transitioned. They've gotten transgender bottom surgery and all that stuff. They are literally suing the hospitals and doctors who allowed them to go through, who performed the procedures. So what we're learning is
Where?
this is all over. I'm going to pull up the information. I'm going to pull up the information.
Give me at least 10 cases where this has happened.
Okay. I'm going to pull
I
up the
prefer 100.
information.
Okay, go ahead.
But what I'm telling you is this is already going in the direction that this is something that is more of a trend than a real phenomenon. Like, oh man, we had all these secret, we've had all these people with identity issues living in our society, all these men and women born into the wrong body in our society. No,
Okay.
people copycat. They see someone doing something and they say, well, maybe that's what's wrong with me. We see that when it comes to people who self-diagnose on Google, right?
Can I ask you a
Oh
question?
man, go ahead.
Okay, so in the 50s, do you think there were that many people that were left-handed? Yes or no?
I would say there probably were left-handed people, but there was nobody cared to identify them.
Oh yes, no, there was. I was born in the
Okay.
60s. You were identified. So what happened was in the 70s or so, because when I was a kid, my brother was left-handed, and they forced him not to be left-handed. So
Right.
when it came to putting down whether you're left-handed or right-handed, he was forced to put that he was right-handed. Okay, that practice kind of ended in the United States. You can look this up. I think 1975 or so, that practice ended, and so all of a sudden you see this great burst. Where all of a sudden now there's so many more left-handed people, and I'm like, what's going
Right.
on here? But the thing is,
They're
it's
not
just
being
that they weren't being forced anymore. Same thing
Right.
happened with the gay experience in the 70s when when you have this big revolution happens because the Black Power movement happens and
Uh-huh.
people start coming out of the closet and all this stuff. And so all of a sudden now people are saying, oh, I can admit that I'm gay. Like J. Edgar Hoover wore a dress. You know who J. Edgar Hoover is, right?
Yeah,
J.
no.
Edgar Hoover.
Let me give you this statistic you wanted. As of February 2026, the number of lawsuits filed by individuals detransitioning against doctors is relatively small, while one study identifies 16 cases with sufficient information for analysis, nearly all filed since 2022. These cases frequently center on allegations of malpractice, improper mental health evaluation, and the long-term physical effects of gender-affirming care, such as double mastectomy or hormone therapy performed during youth. Now, when these cases, based on the rulings in these cases, because they filed, they're not done yet. They're still kind of in court.
So 16 cases, right?
If listen, I'm telling you this right now. This is like class action. If these people win these cases are going to explode. Trust me.
Okay, 16 cases, right?
Yes, but that's relatively a lot when you consider, and this is from the New York Times, that's a lot when you consider that transgender are a small portion of our population, and considering that a lot of people who are transgender have not gone through bottom surgery because they can't afford it, right?
Okay, well, no, that's not true. How
That's
many
very true.
actually, let's look it up. Look up how many are actually request bottom surgery. Hormone therapy treatment is very different than having your, like understand having your penis removed isn't isn't a new thing. Like there were people were neutered back. They were called eunuchs back in the time of slavery in the Arab countries. But let me ask you, it's looking, because you're making out this is some new phenomena. Are you familiar with the term, with the goddess Aphrodite? The
What'd you
Greek
say
goddess
again?
Aphrodite. Are you familiar with the Greek goddess
Aphrodite?
Aphrodites? Look up
I know
Aphrodite.
I'm telling you, I know Aphrodite. I don't know Aphroditus.
Look, it's the same thing. Aphrodite is a term. Aphrodites was the Greek god.
No,
Okay, it's
Aphrodite was a woman, was the goddess.
Aphrodite was a mixture between hermaphrodite, Hermes, and Artemis, I believe it was.
Yes. In a minotaur was a damn, wait, what was it called? The one with the horse ass and the man's front.
That's called a satyr, a satyr,
No, that's
SATAR.
not a satyr. A satyr had a goat bottom.
Okay, the horse was I know the horse, but I forget the horse.
What
I
was
know
the
you're talking
horse?
about, right?
Yeah.
I
But yeah,
don't remember the
I
top of my
am
head.
familiar with it.
Okay, so that's
But
how far back being being a mixture goes. Like, are you familiar with the term intersex? Like, what would you do for an intersex person who wanted to play in sports if it was up to you?
you will let them decide which one they wanted to be.
Okay, so
And I
then,
think their hormonal load would, if they're producing a bunch of testosterone. But I mean, at that point, you make an exception, but not a person who's born with a wiener, straight up.
so okay, but the difference between a person that is intersex and a person that has a type of sexual dysphoria where they feel like they're in the
Okay,
wrong body.
so your Aphroditus thing is kind of like misinformation in a sense, because
Look it up.
the comparison is very flawed, because
No,
Aphroditus, hey,
go ahead.
you told me,
I'm listening.
let me go. Aphroditus is an ancient Greek, predominantly Cypriot deity, worshipped as a male counterpart to Aphrodite. So Aphrodite was the female, he was the male. He's often depicted with a feminine body, long hair, and female clothing, but possesses male genitalia. So he's not a
And then
hermaphrodite or none of that. He's a
no,
man
no,
who's dressed
exactly
like a
right.
woman.
Right. So there's two different ones. There's Aphrodite and Aphrodites, right?
Listen, but he's identified as a male counterpart. So what they establish is he is a male, even though he has feminine features or dresses like a female.
Okay,
But
so
he's not a
what do you do in that
transgender.
case? So what do you do in that case? In the case of
I tell him to take off the dress and
hermaphrodites,
cut his hair. He
but
has a
see,
wiener. It says he has a man sex parts. He has male genitalia.
so understand that this is something that's existed in society since the time before the Greeks.
There's
And
always been good looking feminine men with wieners. But they still boned women, or they still
no,
were like, I'm a man. This dude wasn't like, yo, I want to chop my junk off. That's not the
wait,
same, bro.
So to be clear, they were gay, like being gay was normal in the Greek world.
There
You
were
are aware of
gay,
that,
there
right?
were gay stuff. Yes, I understand that. The
So,
the Spartans, they love boys and all that.
Spartans.
Yeah, I get it.
No, the Spartans didn't like boys. The Spartans all were the best warriors, and each one had a male partner. So they had their wives and their kids at home, but when they're in the field, they fought to death with their lover, male lover. So it wasn't just a here or there thing. It was the complete part of their society. 100%. They were all that way.
You're just wrong because it says right here, yes, Spartan society institutionalized pederasty, a form of mentorship and sexual relationship between an adult male and a younger teenage male, Rominos or whatever. So, bro, come on, you gonna bring up all this white shit? You better be accurate because we ain't
What do
dumb
you mean?
over here.
Have you ever read the book? You ever read the story
The
of the
Greek shit
300?
is white stuff.
The 300, the Spartan story, the
Yeah, they
300.
was all gay.
I mean, well, no, they weren't gay. There's a saying that they used to have. It
You
says, and I
smacking the dude in
th-
the barracks with you, you gay, bro. It ain't
let
no
me
two ways about
again,
it.
this is what they're saying is that women are for babies, men are for pleasure, but melon is for pure delight.
They could
You've
say a
never heard
lot of
that.
stuff because they was gay.
Anyway, dude. So
I
it was
played
part of their
football and
society.
never looked at another player's ass and was like, "Ooh, I love to tap that."
I mean, I'm not Greek, so I mean, I'm not saying that. Like, I'm a military guy. Okay, I'm a ranger, and rangers look up to a lot of rangers love the Greeks, and they love the Spartans. And so you remind them, you know, those boys were doing, they were into each
I
other.
appreciate the Greeks' contribution to democracy, and that's where it ends, bro. And I love
Yeah,
their
well,
mythology. Beyond
whether
that,
you,
they were
it's
just a
way deeper.
deeply messed up society.
Yeah, so you sound like a Roman right now, but
No,
basically,
the Roman actually the Greeks were a much more powerful empire than the Romans, and they got defeated by the Romans they because a lot of the shit that what divides us today in America divided ancient Greece, the city states, and that's why they could never come together to address a common enemy. We're people say the fall of Rome, but America is more like the fall of Greece, where a bunch of people just wouldn't come together based on a bunch of dumbass social perversions, and they allowed themselves to be basically conquered.
what social perversions you talking about?
Dude, you know the
You
city
sound
states
so
would
white,
literally
dude.
be like, "We don't fuck with them because they got a lot of gays over there," or "We don't fuck with them because they
No.
worship this god." Yes, they did. Yes, they
They
did.
they had a lot of gays over there. Show me that. That'll be new. If you,
Bro,
I've
you
never
don't
heard that
even
one
remember
before.
when in the movie 300, since you want to quote movies
No,
as
I was quoting the book. I wasn't quoting the
book
movie. You
movie.
should
Well,
read the
I'm gonna
book.
quote the movie because I ain't reading that shit. That's the whole
All
thing.
right. Well,
But I'm
oh,
just telling you my frame of reference. Leonidas refers to the Athenians as boy lovers, and that was one of the reasons why he kind of didn't want to fuck with the Athenians. But then but
I don't
if you read the
remember.
real history, the Spartans were boy lovers too.
Yeah, so that doesn't make sense at all.
No, but I'm just saying the movie was stupid. But I'm familiar enough with Greek mythology and history to know that these fools like, boy cheeks. They was into that.
They were into a lot of things. They were into religion. They were into a lot of things that I mean, it's like
They
this.
were
You're acting like it doesn't exist in America. It's
what I'm
part.
telling you,
It's as much American society. It's like this.
what I'm
The
telling
fact
you
that it
is
was. Go ahead.
it
Go ahead.
exists in American society. I'm okay
Yeah, you're
with
not.
it existing in American society, but I do not think that these small groups should have as much sway over our government and our politics as they do. Bro, listen,
Do you believe in equal rights for all? Yes or no?
I believe in equal rights for all people, but
Well, it doesn't sound like it.
equal rights based on the law, not equal rights based on preferences, personal preferences. That's what I believe.
The law is a personal preference. Okay, the law applies to
No, it's
all.
not. It applies to
So
all, so
does it?
that
So
means
the
it's
law doesn't
not
apply to all.
personal. If
The
it
law doesn't apply to
applies,
all.
listen, if it applies to all, that is the direct opposite of it being personal.
Whoa. So what law only applies to white people and not to black people?
That's what I'm trying to tell you, bro. If it was personal, there would be laws that only apply to certain people. The law applies to everyone. That means
Okay,
it's
so
not
then
personal.
is everybody equal then? That's the whole thing. Do
Everyone is
gays have the
equal
same?
under everyone is
So,
equal under the law. There's no right that I enjoy that gays do not.
well, this sounds like there's rights that you think you should enjoy that transgender people shouldn't enjoy.
No, 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 no. a kid doesn't have the right to make a decision about their genitalia. And
Okay, so then
I would go as far as to say adult doesn't have the right to make a decision about a kid's genitalia.
I can ask you a question.
What?
So then, right now, you say that you're opposed to circumcision until a child is old enough to get it for himself.
Yes, 100%. I
Okay,
don't even
then
think there should be circumcision.
I agree. I agree. There's circumcision. A child should not be forced to have circumcision.
I don't believe in any form of genital mutilation. Let me ask you a question, since I think you're
we can
right.
we can agree on that. We can agree
Let
on
me
that.
just ask you one question. Why, when African tribes practice female circumcision,
Horrible.
which is a form, right, which is a form of child genital mutilation, it's horrible, like you said.
It's horrible.
But when
Yes,
white
horrible.
doctors do the same exact thing, all of a sudden it's like gender affirming and compassionate care. It ultimately has the same result. Maybe female circumcision has less of a negative impact on the genitalia than that, because it's not restructuring it's restructuring to a lesser impact, lesser effect.
She can't have an orgasm.
Why? Yes, and these transgenders can't have no orgasm. Have you ever talked to a person who has bottom surgery? I live in Long Beach, California. There's a bunch of trans down there. Ask them. They'll be like, no, I can't have an orgasm.
Okay, so how would they have an orgasm before? So that, I mean,
with their regular sex parts.
Well, a lot of times they don't have the ability to get an erection. A lot of times.
Stop it, bro.
All the time.
How do you prove that?
If somebody is, I met one guy. I've only met one guy who was intersex. You can prick
your dick with a needle and you will have a raging erection, bro. So everyone has an ability to. You know what I'm talking about too. Everyone has their ability to get an erection. Stop it.
I met a guy who was intersex and he had a vagina and a penis.
You're talking about something that you're talking about a whole different category. You
okay, but
transgender to intersex.
It stays. Okay. Well, so then with intersex, you're saying that's an exception in your book, exception to the rule, right?
Bro, it's a totally different thing.
So again, in my mind, they kind of still fall in the same category as far as sports goes.
In your mind.
Does not in your mind?
You also think that Aphrodite was a transgender.
Aphroditus or Aphrodite. Aphrodites had genital had. Look it up. Aphrodite had genitalia that is considered today would be transgender.
No, yes. We just read it. It said he had male genitalia. Now you trying to rewrite what we just looked. We all read it, bro. It said male genitalia. Hey, white people just be lying like a motherfucker. I be trying to defend y'all sometimes. Like, nah, white people cool. They built, if it wasn't for them, there would be no America. But bro, the way y'all lie over shit that's really unimportant is crazy. Like, you know that you don't want no damn transgender in the bathroom with your daughter. You know you don't want no transgender playing basketball against your daughter on a basketball team. But you gonna sit up and argue for this shit. You probably don't even have kids. Do you have kids? Steve. Do you have kids, Steve? Why do I imagine Steve sitting in like his mom's basement butt naked right now, like on some crazy shit? He comes off like, you don't know what you're doing. Hey, Steve fell off. Thank you, Steve, for coming up. I appreciate it. He just dropped off, guys. But man, I love these people. I love them coming up here because you get to see like where people's minds be at with this stuff. Like, come on, bro. Are you serious right now? Hey, thank you guys for the super chats. Hey, guys, can you help me really quickly reach my $5 super chat goal? We're asking for $5 super chats, $5 or more super chats. We got one. I think we might have two. We got one. That's for sure. Because I'm about to have to. Let me check and see if anybody contributed through Cash App or PayPal, because they're definitely pinned to the top. Excuse me. Yeah. No, nobody contribute. So yeah, if you guys can help us reach our five super chat goal, I'd appreciate that. If you're in a position to do so. I know it's the end of the month. I know money be kind of tight. But man, when we get guys like Steve up here, brave souls, I mean, let's give Steve's like a round of applause. Thank you for coming up, Steve. Not all people are not all liberals are brave enough to come up and argue these points. But man, I mean, it's hard to explain. And I don't fault Steve because it's very hard to explain some stuff like that. Because at its core, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But bro did his best, you know what I'm saying? So it's all good. We appreciate bro. But guys, listen. It's been an hour and 45 minutes, and I got to get the hell out of here. I really hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to clip that segment with Steve, and we're going to post it up as its own individual thing. Thank you guys for watching this. I appreciate everything you do for this channel. I hope I made my case. And if I didn't, let me know in the comments what you think and where you think I could. Oh, Steve is back. Steve, man, we're on final thoughts.
I'm sorry, man. I apologize. I get bumped off when I try to look it up. But it said that Aphrodite have both male and female characteristics.
Hey, characteristics, but not genitalia.
What do you consider characteristics?
Characteristics are like personality traits.
Okay, well, we'll argue that for a different day.
No, especially since I looked it up and it said that he had male genitalia, and we showed that to everybody on the screen.
Aphrodite's?
It says Aphrodite's had.
Look up
male.
Aphrodite's. Aphrodite's had.
Bro, there's
Aphrodite,
one of them have boobs
and then there's and a penis.
All right, let me look at this picture.
Yeah, I didn't want to go look it up because I was going to get bumped off. I apologize. I didn't mean to mention your stream, man.
I'm looking it up. From these pictures that I'm seeing, bro ain't got no titties. Bro got a regular man chest.
Oh.
I don't know if they'll get me for showing this.
They didn't have. Just look up Aphrodite's characteristics, and it'll say male and female. My whole point is that it was kind of celebrated back then. I mean, I don't really know what they were into. I don't know. I've never really cared that much about it before.
Now they're saying hermaphroditus.
Yeah, hermaphroditus, right?
But you were saying Aphrodite's.
No, I meant hermaphroditus. Hermaphrodites.
But even this person has a male wiener
and boobs.
I mean, I guess those could be considered boobs.
Yeah,
but,
that was the whole thing.
Look up this Aphrodite's.
Not Aphrodite was their mother. He was the mother. It was the offspring of Hermes and Aphrodite.
There's a lot of men in the world with boobs, especially fat men.
Well, okay, that's
but
a different story too.
But the genitalia is telling you got a wiener. It ain't a mix nothing down there.
Yeah, so hermaphrodites have boobs
and a straight wiener.
And a penis.
And the gender or sex is determined by the genitals down at the bottom.
And they have both. They have both characteristics. They have breasts.
This does not say that he has both. It says that he has the deity. Oh no, it says that hermaphroditus seen by the LGBT is seen by the LGBT as a transgender queer hermaphrodite. It doesn't say that what he was. And then Aphrodite was
his mother.
Whichever, yeah, but it says
that's the mother. Hermaphroditus we're talking about. That Aphrodite is his mom. His father was Hermes. So
yes,
that union,
Aphrodite.
Yeah, and that union created hermaphrodites or hermaphroditus.
But yeah, see, so Hermes doesn't. Yes. So the name hermaphroditus ain't even got nothing to do with LGBTQ. It's a play on his mother and father's name put together.
No, it's not.
So they just adopted that like they did the rainbow.
Let me explain. It was an entity that was worshipped, but they had their own cult back in the day, and they were for people who identified with that, who today we would call transgender or queer. I'm trying to tell you that was my point. They've been
I do
around
some more.
for
I do some, but I'm
thousands of
not
years.
saying they haven't been around. I'm not saying that. I'm just
But
saying
yeah,
that.
you did, because you just now
No, I
said
did
this
not.
lyrics. Okay, so then let me go back. Let me. This is what you just said, and quote me if I'm wrong. You said that it just exploded out of nowhere recently, like and that's like this whole thing in society is all this kind of, and that's when I said, that's when I tried to explain to you about the left hand and the right hand thing, how it was just, it wasn't, it's like my point is, we've always had people that were transgender in our communities.
But
It's just they couldn't be honest about their own sexuality, and a lot of times kids aren't even
so,
allowed
so,
to.
so
Go
what
ahead.
changed? What changed that? What changed
what
that?
what
Because
shit,
we've always
I
had.
can answer that.
Listen, we've always had drag. We've always
Well,
had men who cross dressed, and
underground,
They've no,
in the closet.
no,
Yes,
man, no. My wife's uncle was a straight cross dresser, bro, when she was
good for
little.
him. But
And
I'm just
listen,
like,
he was invited to all the family events and all that. That fool's name is Daryl. Like I know him. So he was around before this shit became super trendy. What I'm saying is, with the advent of the internet and the I would say the like promotion of it with through the internet, the LGBTQ movement and all that, I feel it has become trendy. And that's why you got people who are like, yo, I did this or that, and now I'm regretting it. Also, it became profitable. Doctors are able to collect, like, literally, they say the studies show that throughout their lifetime, a doctor will collect over $300,000 off of
wow.
one transgender surgery with post operation treatment because they're constantly getting infections. There's very often there's a failure in some aspect of the genital reassignment, and the doctors clean up on that. Just like,
16
yo, we got to
of
go and
16.
do another surgery and another surgery. Like these people are all over YouTube talking about this, bro.
No, bro, but you're making it sound like this is a great epidemic that all these people are getting their surgeries undone, and come to find out it's not even 16 surgeries. Number one.
But what
Number
right
two,
does a transgender not have that we enjoy?
well, a lot
Other
of
than the
rights.
right to, no man, no regular man is like, I deserve to go in the bathroom with women. No woman is like, I deserve to go in the bathroom with men. Transgenders, based on their sex at birth that we see their junk, they're like, I have a penis, but I want to go to the bathroom with women. Well, do you also have a vagina? Because then you can decide. No, I just have a penis. Well, you ain't going in there. Why does it
All right, well,
matter that they go in the bathroom with a woman? And
it
and you
first
do
off,
know this stuff is identity disorder. It's been classified as that for decades.
all right. So we can go back to 2016. Do you know who Caitlyn Jenner is?
Yes,
Okay,
Olympian.
would you do you want to call him Bruce Jenner? Would that make you feel better to call him Bruce Jenner instead for the
I wouldn't
conversation?
care. I wouldn't care.
Well, because Donald Trump was asked if Caitlyn Jenner wanted to use the bathrooms in Trump Tower, which bathroom would you make them use? Do you remember what Trump said?
I don't remember what he say. I never knew
He
what he
said,
said.
"Yeah." He said, "I don't," because Caitlyn Jenner can use whatever bathroom they want to.
Yeah, because Trump Tower bathrooms probably are all gender restrooms.
Are you sure?
They probably are. I'm sure Trump.
But you're
Bro.
making an assumption there. The
No,
point is
at
that
this point, I'm sure it's all
Tr-
gender restrooms in Trump Towers, bro.
Trump made it pretty clear that Caitlyn Jenner can use whatever bathroom Caitlyn Jenner felt comfortable with
But
using.
Caitlyn
And
Jenner
so,
has had their sex organs transformed into female sex organs.
what do you mean?
He's not walking around with a penis anymore.
Are you sure?
Yes,
Okay, because I've never heard that. I've never heard that story.
I
I
believe he
I know
talked
they
about it on Fox News when he used to be on there all the time that he had
think
bottom surgery.
I don't. I have to look them up. I'm pretty sure that that's not. I don't know if that's true or not. I know for sure. Like I watched. I was in the hospital for a while, and I happened to had to watch all the reruns
Yes. Yeah. Wait.
of
Well,
that
since we
show.
the beauty of the internet is we don't have to not know. Yes,
Here, look
Caitlyn
it up.
Jenner.
Look it up.
I've already done that. I'm far ahead of you. Yes,
Okay.
Caitlyn Jenner confirmed in her 2017 memoir, The
Oh,
Secrets of
17.
My
Okay.
Life. Yes, the secrets of my life that she underwent gender reassignment surgery, often referred to as bottom surgery, in January 2017. She stated the decision was made to have all the right parts and to live more authentically. Yeah, and if a guy gets turned into a woman with his gender, with his wiener, okay, can he go in the bathroom? I don't really care because he can't do anything. Like, he can, I mean, I don't know. He could probably do something, but he can't do no penetrating, I guess. But ultimately, that would fall into like sports. Like, yo, even though you ain't got no junk, you still got all the biological things a man has. Now, my issue here is you got men with fully intainers talking about I'm transgender pre-op and I want to go in the bathroom with young girls and women. No, bro. And in California, they put these dudes in prisons, and what did they do? They started raping the female inmates. This is a fact. Steve?
Pull it up. Pull it up.
Oh,
I haven't heard that one.
I just talked about this yesterday.
This is the first day I watched the show. I happened to turn by. I'm going to add you.
This is the best show you'll ever watch. Female inmate rape.
You say a lot of crazy things, bro. Like, I'm not really into black stuff, to be honest with you.
Ain't nothing crazy about what I said.
So one of the things that you were saying that I stopped and didn't agree with is this notion that Trump's not a racist, and you said, I'll give you $20 if you can show me. So
you're not even black calling somebody racist.
Who's not black, nigga? What are you talking about?
Nigga. Oh, are you black? Show me your face.
Bro, I'm black.
I thought you were white.
I know.
Oh, you are black. Wow. You got the white man's male pattern baldness. You got that like little puff in the middle. Bro, my bad, bro. I thought you were white this whole time. And I shouldn't have been like that because I have a proper sounding voice. And people are like, are you? Well, most people, when I talk to them on the phone, think I'm a woman, which is crazy. Yeah.
A woman? Nah, I wouldn't thought you were. I mean, maybe some. Nah, I wouldn't have thought you were.
Maybe I'm not hermaphrodite.
I would have thought you.
Maybe
but
hermaphrodite.
But do you not remember? Look up Central Park 5. If you do, since you look on things.
With the Central Park 5.
You don't remember Central?
Trump.
Okay, come on.
Listen, Trump was just like every other dumbass Democrat, believing what the Democrat news was saying, which was the information they were given by the Democrat prosecutors, the Democrat judges, the Democrat police chief, and all that. And he went with what he was told. He believed it.
So what about after they were cleared and Trump still didn't apologize?
No,
after they were cleared.
Because he felt like they were guilty. And I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like they were guilty. And a lot of black people still feel like the
She says it wasn't them. What are you talking about?
Listen.
She says it wasn't them.
Listen, let me tell you something.
Number one. Number two, Trump was also charged with housing discrimination.
Nah, that has already been debunked long ago.
It's been debunked? No, how is it
debunked, man? Yes, it has. Because in the case, Trump and it was actually his father, Frank or Fred Trump or whatever his name is. And
Fred Trump.
The DOJ did not, it was basically like settled. It was like they couldn't prove that he discriminated because black people who lived in the building came to court and testified like, bro, I've been renting from bro this long, that long. You know, I've never been discriminated against. If you already got black people living in there for years, how can you say he's not renting to black people? Come on, bro. And the DOJ dropped the case at that point. It was like
even more.
That's what happened.
I'll look it up now. Even more recently, you're saying did Trump yes or no say that he didn't want to sit next to a black female officer? Yes or no? Because that's what Pete Hegseth said that he said.
Listen, if this guy said he didn't want to sit next to a black female officer, I would have to ask, why didn't he want to sit next to her? Just because he said he didn't want to sit to this, he didn't say, I don't want to sit next to a black female officer. He didn't say that. He said, I don't want to sit next to this lady who happens to be black. He didn't even say who happens to be black. What they do is they say, if the girl's name is Monica Lewinsky and she's black, and Trump says, I don't want to sit next to Monica Lewinsky. Well, Trump said he didn't want to sit next to a black woman. No, he said he didn't want to sit next to Monica Lewinsky. Right? There's black women I don't want to sit next to. So am I racist?
Well, it depends on why you don't want to sit next to a black person. You can easily look at Candace Owens is a fucking cool motherfucker. So there's plenty of them.
Listen, Trump is hugging on black folks, got black folks on stage at the White House. Bro has dated black women in the past before any presidential run. He didn't have to do that. How many black women has Joe Biden dated? I'll wait.
Joe Biden
How
had a
many black
black
women
vice president.
that doesn't mean
Period.
anything. He had a black
Joe
vice.
Biden,
Joe
bro.
Biden
You
had
know
a
what?
black. Joe
He's
Biden picked
been
a
married,
black vice president
bro.
because he listen. Joe Biden
I'm
picked a
listening.
black vice president because Joe Biden was struggling with the black vote because of racist stuff he said in the past. You know that.
No, he wasn't serving the black vote.
He
Did you not want
was.
South Carolina?
He needed
That's
Jim
how he won
Clyburn,
South Carolina. What are you
bro.
talking about?
He
He
won
won
South
South Carolina.
He won South
South Carolina
Carolina
with the
because
black vote.
listen. He won South Carolina because Jim Clyburn, the most
Exactly.
popular black politician in the history of the Democrat Party from South Carolina, gave Biden his endorsement. So black people
Exactly.
supported. And what did Jim Clyburn said? We don't know a lot, but we know Joe. He basically gave the dog whistle. He told black people, yo, it's cool to vote for him. You know, black folks wasn't going to support Biden. If you remember, Biden was getting destroyed in the primary in South Carolina
Yeah,
until Jim Clyburn.
he shouldn't have
Yes,
won.
yes, because black people were not. Biden is basically like Hillary, bro. He has such a tainted past. Black people will just not show up to vote for him.
All right, how many black judges in this administration has Trump appointed?
None.
Exactly.
Trump,
None. Why?
how
Did
many
Trump?
black conservative judges do you have?
There's Clarence Thomas on down. There's hundreds of black conservative
But
judges.
Clarence Thomas is already
Hundreds
on
of
the court.
it.
Hey,
But
Clarence
I'm saying
Thomas is already on the court.
there's
Of
hundreds of
conservative
black
black
conservative
judges.
judges.
Where?
There's hundreds of black conservative judges, bro.
Where?
There's hundreds of them.
Where?
The number one. What?
Name them. Who are they?
Well, I can't. You know, if I go offline, I'm not gonna be able to come back on again. So I've already tried that. I'm not gonna do it. But there's plenty of black conservative judges.
But let me
There's
read this
there's
real quick.
Judge Brown, for example. He's a black conservative
Stop,
judge.
bro's
That's
too
one
old. Bro's
alone.
too old. Bro's too old. He's a
But
television judge.
for the Supreme Court judge, I wish.
He's too old, bro. These guys are
Yeah,
retired
he's
already.
definitely.
They're
And
like
plus,
older
okay, so
than everybody on the
let's
Supreme Court, damn near.
let's look at Trump's let's look at Trump's interns. Trump has no black interns. Matter of fact, the only blacks in Trump's cabinet are under HUD. That's it.
Okay.
There's no other blacks outside of HUD in Trump's cabinet.
What's wrong with that?
And well,
And you do know a lot of people. You know, a lot of black people don't want to work for Trump because they feel like it'll hurt their political career after Trump's
what are you
gone.
talking about?
Why
do you think that is?
Speak Chinese to you?
No, you're speaking insanity.
Because of the retaliatory nature, of the Democrat Party.
Or maybe that Trump doesn't really represent black America. He doesn't care about black America.
So Biden
He's not doing
does.
anything
So
black
Biden
America.
does.
Yeah, by more than Trump does. That's for sure. No doubt about that.
You are out of your damn mind.
Okay, so
Joe Biden represents black people. Bro,
who did Joe
how
Biden
many
pick
black
for
people?
his?
Let me ask you a question. How many black people has Joe Biden employed?
Well, I mean,
None.
let's just think about it.
The answer is none.
So, what? What about his Secretary of Defense?
That's fine, but I'm talking about in his personal.
Okay, whoa.
Wait,
you
in his,
said
listen,
none. That put you wrong right there.
Listen, what I'm telling you is his Secretary of Defense is employed by the government. That's us with our money.
It's his appointee. He appointed
listen,
him.
That's fine. How many black people has Joe Biden in his personal life employed? Paid a paycheck, matched a 401k. Trump, thousands.
Biden have Trump. You think Trump's employed more black people than Biden has?
I know for a fact because I went to
Trump. You don't.
Listen, yes I do, because I went to Trump Tower in Chicago, and the black guy who took my bags, I forgot what they're called, bellhop or whatever. I asked him. I said, "Man, how long you working?" Bro's like, "I've been working 35 years." I said, "Damn, 35 years in a hotel?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "How do you like working for Trump?" He said, "Mr. Trump is the best boss you could ever have." Like, he just spoke so like
he was cooning and you were falling for it.
He's cooning.
He's hilarious, Doc.
Listen,
he's hilarious.
You can dismiss it as cooning. That's fine. But what I'm saying is, no black person who worked for Trump has ever complained about being mistreated, bro. That's a fact.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Dortmund's
I could.
Dude, Dortmund make great money, bro, especially at Trump Tower, bro. Like, are you?
What about Amber Rose? Amber Rose complained about it. What are you talking about, Doug? She wrote a whole book about it.
She complained about Trump?
Yeah. Did you not pay any attention to it? What
about
about
it? What she say about him?
Because she wrote a book about how he was a shitty fucking human being. He was a racist.
Amber Rose, she loves the Republicans, and she just said she supports Trump.
No, not. Wasn't that the one that worked for Trump?
Exactly.
The black.
Get the name
Yeah,
right.
she. Yeah,
Omarosa.
Amber Rose.
Yeah,
Amber
she
Rose.
just
I'm sorry. I
just wants
apologize.
attention. She just wants attention. Trump gave her a
All right, well,
spot in his cabinet last election, and she tried to turn on him.
what spot did he give her?
Everybody is a racist when a black person.
What spot did he give her?
I'm gonna look
In
it
his
up 'cause
cabinet.
I don't know.
Yeah. And he has no blacks in this cabinet this time because Trump is all part of Project 2025. And 2025 is to make sure that
She was
blacks disappear.
assistant, though she served as assistant to the president and director of communications for the Office of Public Liaison in the Trump administration from
Not a
January
cabinet
2007.
position.
Listen,
That's not a cabinet
from
position. That's,
January, I didn't listen, man. She worked for him. I
you
didn't say
did.
she
You
was
sit in your cabinet.
whatever, bro. She's a liaison and an assistant from January 2017 until she was fired by Chief of Staff John Kelly in December of 2017. She was a high-profile aide focused on constituency outreach. So John Kelly fired her, not even Trump, bro. So chill,
Yeah,
bro.
of course, John.
She probably was
Trump
lazy and didn't
get
want to show
rid
up to
of her.
work.
Damn, dog. That's how it is.
I
Oh,
said
there you go.
probably. I said probably, bro. Probably.
There you go.
Man, if you don't get out of here, bro, Amaral saying shit.
All right.
Nobody cares about her.
No, on that part we can also agree, my friend. I'm gonna go back and sit back and listen to you in the audience. Okay,
Wait,
good
I want
talking
to
to you,
look up
man.
how much does a doorman at Trump?
Yeah, Trump pays shit. I guarantee they're working on tips, dude. They're working on tips.
Do I detect TDS?
What Trump dick sucking syndrome?
Bro, these guys are making
got
between. Listen, bro, these
I'm
guys.
listening.
Listen, look, they're making between $24 and $27 an hour. This is in Chicago. That's great pay in Chicago, actually. And
So-
then, wait a minute.
I'm listening.
This translates to a base annual salary of roughly between $40,000 and $55,000. Although high-end unionized New York City positions, and I'm sure that's I'm sure that's Chicago too, because that's a big city too.
Trump Tower has no unions.
When including tips, can reach $65,000 to $85,000 plus per year, bro. And I know I tip bro like 50, so I know I ain't the only one who tip, bro.
I'm in San Francisco, and there's a lot of nice hotels in there.
Look at this. Total compensation, the ladders.com estimates suggest that average compensation for employees at Trump International Hotel and Tower including other roles, can exceed $100,000, though this likely includes senior positions. So bro's paying good for hotels. It says that locations, doorman range. So almost 50,000, 48,000.
So New York, so Trump Tower New York pays 50. Does that understand? Look up just Trump Tower New York. How much does doorman at Trump Tower New York pay? Because you looked at doorman in particular in New York. That's very different. Because Trump doesn't believe in minimum wage.
So they're making They're making 58,000 to 62,000 plus as of 2000.
That's on tips. I'm talking how much do they make per hour?
No, it says generally earn an annual base salary between 58,000 and 62,000.
The doormen do at Trump Tower. They're on salary. They're not on an hourly wage. I'm asking because I'm gonna look at it.
I'm going to use this literacy that the white man gave me and read this.
White man gave you your literacy?
The white man did. I said white man.
Yeah,
unionized doormen in New York City luxury buildings including potential roles at Trump Towers, generally earn an annual base salary between 58,000 and 62,000 plus.
Yeah,
as of 2023. Bro, Trump Tower doormen are unionized. Oh, it says including. It says including potential roles at Trump Tower. How much does a doorman and I asked, how much does a doorman at Trump Towers make?
Because from what I understand, Trump Towers, like they may call the union to get some extra labor, but for the most part, Trump does not support any unionization of any of his facilities.
No, that's not true.
Where? That's very true.
Listen,
He
Trump
talks
used to
about it.
work with the unions big time when he was
Bro, Trump talks about how he's a union buster. Trump hates unions, just like Elon Musk hates unions.
I hate unions.
Why would you hate unions? Why would you hate something that helps
They
out
still
helps out
they steal money from workers. They don't
and
give a
employers
shit.
don't steal?
New York many door
Wow,
managers,
dude.
including those in high-profile buildings, are part of the union. The primary union representing these workers is 32 BJSCIU, which frequently bargains union Trump Tower specifics. While the specific up-to-the-minute union status of every employee at Trump Tower in Manhattan, Fifth Avenue is not explicitly listed in public databases, it is highly
There we
likely
go.
that it says it is highly likely they are covered under the standard collective bargaining agreement from the union that cover many New York City luxury apartment buildings, bro. So for all information is pointing to, yes, they are unionized. So
All right. For the sake of argument, I want to go, but no,
but
I'll
I
look it
could
up
look,
again.
but you could look up the job on
I'm gonna come
Indeed.
back. What?
All right, I got to get out of here though. But thank you so
Hey,
much, Steve,
hey,
for coming up.
thank you for letting me come and talk to you. I appreciate it because
No
I'm gonna look
problem.
it up. I was gonna say I'm gonna start following from now on, so I'll see you in the chat.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you. Guys, I'm out of here. I got to go do something. Thank y'all so much for watching. So I appreciate everything you do. Till the next time. Peace.